Works good. Welcome everyone to our Committee of Adjustment meeting. Apologize for being late. We're going to hear applications for minor variances and consents, and we'll call each application by name and number. Ask anyone who wishes to speak regarding an application to give their name to the secretary so it can be recorded. There is a 20-day waiting period after today's decision in order to allow time for appeals to the OMB. And if you're not the applicant or agent and you want a copy of a decision in writing, you can sign the clipboard at the back of the room. The applicant and the agent will automatically be notified. Are there any disclosures of interest by committee members? No? I have a motion by Marcel, seconded by Dan, and resolved that the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting held Wednesday, March 15th, 2017 be adopted as circulated. Are there any errors or omissions? No? Those in favor? The motion's carried. Thank you. So our first application today then is BN046. It's in the name of 671175 Ontario Inc. Is there anyone here regarding this application? Mr. Higgins? We'll have the planner explain the report.
An application has been received to sever a parcel having no frontage, an irregular width and irregular depth, and having an area of 0.098 hectares, and retain a parcel having an area of 23.93 hectares as a boundary adjustment. The lands are to be added to an existing parcel located immediately adjacent at 1056 Wyndham Road 5. The final lot size will be 1.207 hectares. The subject lands front onto the south side of Wyndham Road 5 in the former geographic township of Wyndham, and the lands contain a single detached dwelling and are generally surrounded by agricultural uses. There is a small greenhouse located on the adjacent farmlands to the southeast of the subject lands. To date, there's been no public input received for this application and therefore was not considered as part of the recommendation. The existing parcel at 1056 Wyndham Road 5 was originally created through a one lot off the farm severance back in the 1990s. In terms of the provincial policy, section 2.3.42 of the PPS states that lot adjustments in prime agricultural areas may be permitted for legal or technical reasons. The applicant has stated the reasoning for the boundary adjustment is to include an area of an existing driveway that leads to the rear of the dwelling. The driveway cannot be moved due to a grade difference on site. Planning staff consider this a valid technical reason to permit a boundary adjustment and note that no new buildable lot is being created. The lot is designated as agricultural in the official plan, and section 4.23A 6 of the OP states that consent to sever lands may be considered for technical reasons, including boundary adjustment, which do not change the lot configuration such that a non-agricultural lot is created, which would not be in conformity of the policy of the plan. Planning staff consider the reason the applicant has given a valid technical reason to permit the boundary adjustment. Subject application conforms to the Norfolk County official plan. The subject lands are zoned agricultural in the zoning bylaw, and the boundary adjustment complies with the zoning bylaw agricultural zone. Planning staff are of their professional opinion that this application is consistent with the PPS, it conforms with the Norfolk County official plan, and therefore recommend that it be approved subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? No? Committee's wishes then? Rudy? Okay. So I have a motion for application BN046. It's been moved by Rudy, seconded by Eric, that the committee hereby approves the application for consent. the application to sever a parcel with no frontage, irregular depth, and irregular width, an area of .241 acres, and retain a parcel with an area of 59.12 acres as a boundary adjustment. The lands are to be added to the existing parcel located immediately adjacent, which is 1056 Wyndham Road 5, making its final lot size 2.98 acres. The subject application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and conforms to Norfolk County official plan regarding boundary adjustment within a prime agricultural area, and that no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. Our next two applications, BN 037 and BN 038, both are in the name of Patricia Culver. Good evening. Is there anyone else here for this one who wishes to speak? Oh, okay. Thank you. I guess we'll have the planner explain the report, however you're going to.
So through the chair, I had a chance to speak with the applicant prior to the commencement of the meeting, and they wish to ask for a deferral of 037 this evening. So tonight I will only be speaking to 038.
Okay. Okay. We'll have Matt explain his report then.
So this is for BNPL 2017-038. An application's been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 23.5 meters, a width of 23.5 meters, a depth of 45.72 meters, and having an area of 1,774.42 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of 3.59 hectares as the creation of a lot in the urban area of Simcoe. The subject lands front onto Glendale Crescent and and are vacant. The retained lands contain a barn and shed. The surrounding land uses are generally residential. No public input was received for this application and therefore was not considered as part of this recommendation. On December 13, 2016, Norfolk County approved the zoning bylaw amendment to amend the permissions on the subject lands. A special zoning bylaw provision was placed on the subject lands so that the minimum service requirement for connection to public water supply and public sanitary sewer system does not apply to these lands. The applicant is proposing to sever a vacant residential lot, which will create a new building lot. The applicant has received approval of a zoning bylaw amendment for this application previously. This application is consistent with the policies of the provincial policy statement. Section 9632C of the official plan states that regard shall be had for all the policies within the plan and to the following criteria when considering an application for consent. So those criteria are listed in my report 1 through 4. Planning staff are of the opinion that all of those criteria regarding consent applications have been met in this instance. The proposed severed lot will front onto an existing assumed public road that's maintained year-round and will have the effect of infilling an existing area. The creation of the lot is not anticipated to compromise the long-term use of the remaining land. The official plan encourages infill intensification, and this proposal is a good example of infill development that will assist the county in meeting its targets. Furthermore, the lot configuration is consistent with the surrounding area and represents good planning. The proposed severance leaves room for additional access for further development within the urban boundary off of Glendale Crescent. This application conforms to the policies of the official plan. The proposed severance application complies with the zoning on the subject lands as well. It will be up to the developer to determine the details of the dwellings to be constructed that it fits within the zoning provisions. So in conclusion, planning staff are of the professional opinion that the subject application is consistent with the PPS, it conforms with the Norfolk County official plan, and as such, staff support this application and recommend that it be approved subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? Dennis?
Mr. Chair, through you to the planner, are full services available up there in that Glendale area?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I didn't think so, but okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Anything you need to add? Huh? Yeah. Have any objections, Matt?
Through the chair, those requirements were requested at the discretion of Public Works and Environmental Services. Specifically, their comment was that the existing curb cut on the severed parcel on Norfolk Street North is required to be restored to barrier curb at the applicant's cost. And the other part of that was that a 0.3 meter reserve is required along the eastern limit of the severed parcel. I believe that both of those comments are in reference to the easterly lot that border Glendale and Norfolk Street. So planning staff would be satisfied that those two could be removed for this application.
Fair. So that is existing curb cut on the severed parcel of Norfolk Street. We scratched that. And the what's the other one? 1 foot reserve. 1 foot reserve, right. Yeah, B and C are here, so. Only it was 3 there, now it's 4. Okay, anyone else? Wishes?
I'll move the application.
Okay. Okay, so for application BN 038, in the name of Patricia Culver. Karen, I'm sorry. I'm just reading what I got. It says here Culver, Karen, Patricia, so my mistake. Application BN 038. It's been moved by Larry, seconded by Dan, that the committee hereby approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 23.5 meters, a width of 23.5 meters, depth of 45.72 meters, an area of 1,074.4 square meters, and retain a parcel with an area of 8.87 acres as the creation of a lot within the urban area of Simcoe. Subject application is consistent with policies of the provincial policy statement and conforms to the Norfolk County official plan regarding creation of a new lot in the urban area, and that no public input has been received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Further discussion? Those in favor? Motion's carried. So now we should talk about 037 briefly. Fine by committee, I'm sure. So I'll need a motion for deferral. Dennis? For application, oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Yes, sir.
just through the chair, applications for next month, I've already closed all of the circulation for all of that has already gone out, so it would be for June. Okay.
Okay, so for application BN 037, it's been moved by Dan, can't read my own writing. Dennis, and seconded by Rudy, that we do hereby defer the application at the applicant's request. Those in favor of deferral? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, so our next application is BN 036. It's in the name of Ernest and Susan House. Mr. Okay, fine, no problem. Mover second, Marcel, Eric. So for application BN 036, I have a motion by Marcel, seconded by Eric, that the committee hereby defers the application at the applicant's request. Those in favor of the motion? It's carried. Good luck with the MTO. Oh, great. BN 040, Proshik Farms. I understand. It's for deferral, is it? Okay. And why is this one being deferred? Applicant's request?
Through the chair, it's through the applicant's request.
Okay. I forget who moved and seconded it, I'll just fill it in. For application BN 040, we have a motion by Eric, seconded by Marcel, that the committee hereby defers this application at the applicant's request. Those in favor? Deferred. BN 041, in the name of 108-7230 Ontario, Inc. Anyone here for this one? Mr. Rowe? Anyone else? We'll have the planner explain the report then.
An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 68.3 meters in a regular width and a regular depth and having an area of 5,326.6 square meters as the severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. An easement is also
that one.
proposed for a gas line with no frontage in a regular width of 12.7 meters and a regular depth of 70.6 meters and an area of 502.4 square meters. The subject lands are approximately 1.32 acres in size and front onto the south side of concession 12 Townsend. The lands are part of a larger 32.4 hectare farm parcel. The subject lands contain a single detached dwelling and a detached garage. To the west is a patch of woodlands. The retained lands contain 2 small sheds. Surrounding land uses are agricultural and rural residential in nature. Norfolk County Official Plan, Section 4.2.3 states, consent to sever land may be considered for a currently habitable dwelling existing prior to August 24th, 1978, surplus to a farming operation as a result of farm consolidation, subject to the policies of Section 4.2.3 B and C. The existing dwelling was constructed prior to 1978 and is considered surplus to the farming operation. The official plan also permits severances for the purposes of easements or technical reasons, including minor boundary adjustments, corrections of deeds, quit claims, easements, or rights of way, or other purposes that do not create an additional separate lot and which do not change the lot configuration such that a non-agricultural lot is created which would not be in conformity with the plan. The proposed gas easement would not create an additional separate lot and is in conformities with the policies of the official plan. Section 4.2.3B states, as a condition of approval of a consent granted under Section 4.2.3A5, the county shall ensure that the land is zoned in the zoning bylaw such that no new residential dwelling shall be permitted on the retained lot. The applicant has submitted a joint application in conjunction with the subject consent application, which proposes to rezone the retained land such that a single detached dwelling is removed as a permitted use. The subject lands are zoned agricultural in the Norfolk County zoning bylaw, and the application meets the provisions of this zone. It is the professional opinion of planning staff that the subject application is consistent with the PPS and conforms to the policies of the Norfolk County official plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances. Staff recommend approval of this application subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? Anything you need to add, Mr. Rowe? Committee's wishes then. Dan?
Seconder.
Okay, so for application number BN 041, I have a motion by Dan, seconded by Dennis, that the committee approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 68.3 meters, an irregular width of 68.3 meters, an irregular depth of 93.7 meters, and an area of 1.32 acres as a severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. An easement is also proposed for a gas line with no frontage, an irregular width of 12.7 meters, irregular depth of 70.6 meters, an area of 0.12 acres. This consent application is being reviewed concurrently with the zoning amendment to remove the single detached dwelling as a permitted use and the agricultural zone for the retained lands. The subject application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the Norfolk County official plan with regard to surplus farm dwelling severances, and that no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion? That motion's carried. We're ahead of schedule. 1 minute. So by the time I call this one, we'll be there. Scheduled for 5:30, and by the time you get here, it's BN 035, Freeman Service Center. And is there anyone here for this one? Welcome. It's Chris. Anyone else here for this one? No. We can have the planner explain their report.
An application has been received to sever a parcel having no frontage, a width of 93.14 meters, a depth of 20.15 meters, and having an area of 1,881 square meters as a boundary adjustment. Lands are to be added to the existing industrial parcel located immediately adjacent to the south. The final lot size will be 0.85 hectares. The subject lands are 1,881 square meters in size and have no frontage. The lands are part of a larger 0.95 hectare parcel which contains Freeman Service Centers, Cal Tire, to the west. Rona is located to the north of the subject lands, vacant lands to the east, and commercial and residential uses to the south. The lands proposed to be severed do not contain any structures and are used for open storage. The subject application proposes to sever a parcel of land and add it to an adjacent parcel. The purpose of this application is to facilitate the construction of a storage building which does not fit entirely on the southern parcel. Section 9.6.32I states, subject to the specific policies of this plan, consents may be permitted for the purposes of making lot boundary corrections, for the purposes of granting easements, for conveyances and consolidations, and other such administrative or technical matters, provided that such matters are minor in nature. The purpose of this application is to provide additional space for the construction of a storage building. The lands being severed are not excessively large and will result in an improved lot configuration. It is the professional opinion of community planning staff that the subject application conforms to the intent of the official plan. The subject lands are zoned light industrial. Indoor storage is a permitted use in this zone. The newly configured lot, as well as the retained lands, will both comply with the provisions of the ML zone. The subject lands are subject to site plan control, and a site plan has been submitted for the proposed warehouse. It is the opinion of community planning staff that the subject application is consistent with the PPS and the official plan regarding boundary adjustments. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved, subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? No? Approval? So for excuse me, application number BN035, it's been moved by Eric, seconded by Marcel. The committee hereby approves the application to sever a parcel with no frontage, a width of 93.14 meters, a depth of 20.15 meters, an area of 0.46 acres as a boundary adjustment. The lands are to be added to the existing industrial parcel located immediately adjacent to the south with the roll number ending in 30700, making its final lot size 2.1 acres. The subject application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the Norfolk and the official plan regarding boundary adjustments, and no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion? That motion is carried. So the next two applications are both in the same name. You want them both at once, or? Yes. That's BN 364 and BN 020, and it's Tischler, I think. I'm sorry? Okay. That must be you. No? Oh, there. I couldn't see. Welcome. Anyone else here regarding this application? Then we'll have the planner explain the reports.
An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 15 meters, a width of 23 meters, a depth of 23 meters, and an area of 345 square meters, and a second lot with a frontage of 18 meters, a width of 18 meters, a depth of 23 meters, and an area of 414 square meters as the creation of two lots in the urban area of Port Dover. The subject lands front onto the southwest side of Walter Street in the urban area of Port Dover. The lands contain 3 residential cabins on the first application and a gazebo for the second application. The subject lands are both part of a larger 1,700 square meter parcel which contains a single detached dwelling, 6 rental cabins, a detached garage, and a gazebo. There's a vacant lot to the southeast of the subject lands with urban residential uses to the northeast and west. The applicant is proposing to create 2 new lots within the urban area of Port Dover. Section 1.1.3.1 of the PPS states settlement areas shall be the focus of growth and development, and their vitality and regeneration shall be promoted. The subject lands are designated urban residential in the official plan. Section 4.7.1A of the official plan states the predominant use of land shall be a variety of urban dwelling types, including single-detached dwellings, semi-detached dwellings, duplex dwellings, and similar low-profile residential buildings not exceeding 2 dwelling units per lot. Section 3.4H states intensification, infill, and redevelopment of designated and underutilized sites and areas in transition in the urban areas will be encouraged prior to consideration of an urban expansion. The subject application proposes to create 2 new residential lots within the urban area of Port Dover. The proposals comply with the intention of the official plan to facilitate infill and intensification opportunities for residential areas and comply with the consent criteria of the official plan. There is a wide range of lot sizes within the surrounding neighborhood, and the proposed lot sizes fit well within this mix. The lots would function well with the surrounding residential parcels. The subject applications conform to the intent of the Norfolk County official plan and represent good planning. The subject lands are zoned urban residential type 1 R1B with special provision 14.560. Both applications comply with all provisions of the zoning bylaw. It is the professional opinion of community planning staff that the subject applications comply with the provincial policy statement and conform to the Norfolk County official plan regarding lot creation in an urban area. Staff support these applications and recommend that they be approved.
Thank you. Any questions of the planner? Straightforward? Doesn't matter which one we deal with first? For application BN 364, got a motion from Larry, seconded by Rudy, that the committee hereby approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 15 meters, a depth of 23 meters, a width of 23 meters, an area of 0.09 acres as the creation of a lot within the urban area of Port Dover. Subject application does comply to the provincial policy statement and conforms to the policies of the Norfolk County official plan regarding lot creation in an urban area, and no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor of 364? It's carried. And we need a mover seconder for 020. For application BN 020, it's been moved by Dennis, seconded by Dan, that we approve the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 18 meters, a width of 18 meters, a depth of 23 meters, an area of 0.1 acres as the creation of a lot within the urban area of Port Dover. The subject application does comply with the provincial policy statement and conforms to the Norfolk County official plan regarding lot creation in an urban area. And no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of this application. Any further discussion on that one? Those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. Good. Water Street, yes. AN 048, Vander Heiden. Anyone here for that? Yes. Get my paperwork in order. Okay, it's Linda, is it? Okay. We'll call you if we need you. We'll have the planner explain the report.
An application has been received to construct an accessory building requiring relief from section 3.2.1B of the zoning bylaw to permit an accessory structure within a front yard. The subject lands are approximately 0.26 hectares in size and front onto the south side of New Lakeshore Road in the former geographic township of Woodhouse. The lands contain a single detached vacation home. Dover Coast Golf and Country Club is located to the north of the subject lands, and the southern property line abuts Lake Erie. Properties to the east and west are resort residential in nature. The subject lands are designated agricultural and hazard lands in the Norfolk County official plan and zoned resort residential and hazard lands in the Norfolk County zoning bylaw. The applicant is proposing to construct a carport within the front yard of the subject lands. Section 45(1) of the Planning Act sets out the criteria for minor variances, that the request for relief is minor, the proposed development is appropriate and compatible with surrounding development, and that the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw is maintained. Planning staff have conducted a site inspection and are of the opinion that the request for relief is minor and appropriate in this instance. The existing vacation home on the property is located within hazard lands, which limits the possible locations that a carport can be located on this property. The applicant had to move the proposed location closer to the front property line than originally proposed in order to meet Ontario Building Code requirements for setbacks from septic tanks and tile beds. The official plan permits residential uses as well as uses accessory to residential, such as carports, in the agricultural designation. The intention of the zoning bylaw in prohibiting accessory buildings in the front yard is to maintain a consistent streetscape and front yard appearance along a street. The relief can be considered minor and appropriate in this case, as the proposed carport is not of an excessive size, as no relief for size has been requested, and it is adequately screened and buffered from neighbors. A tall wooden fence is located along the property line between the subject lands and the property to the east, and the dwelling on the property to the west is screened by some trees and located a significant distance from the proposed accessory building. The subject property has a large front yard which can accommodate an accessory building without appearing out of place. It is the professional opinion of community planning staff that the request for relief can be considered minor in nature, appropriate development, and generally meets the intent of the Norfolk County Official Plan and Zoning Bylaw. As such, staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? Anything you wish to add? Are all good? Committee's wishes then? Dennis? Thank you. For application AN 048, I have a motion by Dennis, seconded by Marcel, that we approve the application for the minor variance to construct an accessory building requiring relief of section 3.2.1B of the zoning bylaw to permit an accessory structure within the front yard. In accordance with section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate, minor in nature, and maintains the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you. Okay, our next application is AN 033. Is it Massacre and Aiken? Thank you. Anyone else here for this one? We'll have the planner explain the report then.
An application has been received to construct a second-story addition to a dwelling and an attached garage requiring relief of 6.47 meters from the minimum required front yard of 13 meters to permit a front yard of 6.53 meters. The subject lands are approximately 0.8 hectares in size and front onto the south side of Mill Pond Road in the former geographic township of Charlotteville. The lands contain a single detached dwelling and a shed and abut Old Mill Pond to the south. Lands to the north are heavily forested with rural residential uses to the east and west. The subject lands are designated and zoned agricultural. Section 45(1) of the Planning Act sets out the criteria for minor variances. Planning staff have conducted a site inspection and are of the opinion that the request for relief is minor and appropriate in this instance. The current front yard setback is 8.43 meters, which is an existing deficiency, and the additional reduction in the front yard setback is not significant. The dwelling is somewhat small, and the proposed variances will allow the applicants to increase the usable floor area and functionality of the dwelling. The property is well screened by trees from properties to the east and west, with no residence to the north or south of the subject lands. The proposed addition is not expected to have any negative impacts on surrounding property owners. The official plan permits a single detached dwelling on agricultural parcels, and the intent of the front yard setback in the zoning bylaw is to maintain a rural characteristic with large front yards. It is also meant to keep a consistent setback across agricultural properties. This property is within a cluster of non-farm lots with reduced front yard setbacks. The general streetscape appearance will not be significantly altered by this proposal. The intention of the official plan and zoning bylaw are maintained through this application. It is the professional opinion of community planning staff that the requested relief can be considered minor in nature, appropriate development, and generally meets the intent of the Norfolk County official plan and zoning bylaw. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? Okay. Okay, for application AN 033, we have a motion by Larry, seconded by Rudy, that the committee approves this minor variance application to construct a second-story addition to a dwelling and an attached garage requiring relief of 6.47 meters from the minimum required front yard 13 meters to permit a front yard of 6.53 meters. In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the proposed development requested relief is considered appropriate, minor, maintains the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion? The motion is carried. You're good, thanks. BN 039, Ducks Landing. Anyone here for that? John? We'll have a planner explain the report.
An application's been received to sever a parcel having no frontage and irregular width and irregular depth and having an area of 95.4 square meters to create an easement for utility purposes. Subject lands are located at the rear side of the Ducks Landing Plan of subdivision in Port Rowan. They're surrounded by urban residential uses and are bordered by Lake Erie to the south. No public input has been received for this application and therefore was not considered as part of the recommendation. Subject lands are designated urban residential and hazard lands in the Norfolk County official plan. The applicant wishes to grant an easement over their property for the purpose of extending existing utility lines to service an adjacent single detached dwelling outside of the Ducks Landing development. Planning staff consider this to be a minor technical matter. The proposed easement conforms to the policies of the official plan. Furthermore, the proposed easement will not create any zoning deficiencies on the subject lands. And in conclusion, it's the professional opinion of planning staff that the application conforms to the intent of the Norfolk County official plan with regard to the establishment of an easement and complies with the Norfolk County zoning bylaw. Therefore, planning staff recommend approval subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? What would you like to do? Done. I have a motion by Dan, seconded by Dennis, that the committee hereby approves the application to sever a parcel having no frontage and irregular width and irregular depth, an area of 95.4 square meters to create an easement for utility purposes. Subject application conforms to the intent of the official plan regarding establishment of an easement, and then no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. And like always, the conditions are outlined in the motion. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. Anything else to come up under other business? Nope, nope. How's next month look? 9? All right, well, if I have a motion by Rudy, seconded by Eric, that we go home at 5:50. I would never thought that. We could have been out of here 5 minutes ago if I was on.